Welcome everybody to a live special Bitcoin episode of Savage Cash. Here with me, Suppoman, your superhero of cryptocurrency. In today's episode, we are going to be exploring what is happening with Bitcoin, what is likely to happen as we approach the weekend and during the weekend. Are we going to be seeing a significant pullback from where Bitcoin is right now, having lost a lot of value, or are we going to see a slight recovery? If you are excited or at least interested to learn about what's going to happen with Bitcoin and the altcoins, then smash up the likes, And if you haven't yet, join the 140,000 people that are subscribed to Team Suppoman and get a daily cryptocurrency video and smash that bell as well. So I'm coming online early because it's been a very, very weird and I suppose in some ways disastrous last kind of 24 hours, particularly last kind of 7-8 hours. All right, so Bitcoin this week has experienced quite a disastrous week. Okay, so just to summarize for those of you who aren't completely in the know, Bitcoin has slumped more than 20% this week amidst increased regulatory scrutiny in the US and Japan. So that is the SEC going after kind of centralized exchanges for having securities or listing securities tokens. And also Japan have been cracking down on some of their exchanges as well. An attempted theft at one of the biggest trading venues, i.e. Binance, and news that the bankruptcy trustee for Mt. Gox has started selling the now defunct exchange's holdings to repay creditors. So I took you through this yesterday. Basically there's a trustee at Mt. Gox who's tasked with getting a load of money back for investors that lost a load of money during the Mt. Gox scandal a few years ago. So he has been selling at high points and dropping the price, potentially dropping the price of Bitcoin at certain intervals when there is demand. So that's what's been happening. Now, what's been happening in the particularly last kind of 7-8 hours, is that Bitcoin has gone down to $8,300. So yesterday it was, nicely over 9,000. Now, not only has it gone under 9,000, but it's nearly gone to under 8,000, which is just unbelievable. Now, I did say yesterday that I thought that the market cap was unlikely to go under 350 billion. But it has actually done that in the last few hours. It has gone to 348 billion whilst I've been awake. And there's no guarantee that it's going to stay at this. Okay, so let me just make sure that you can hear me and everything, because that would be embarrassing. Yes, you can hear me. Marvellous. And there are people. So anyway, let me take this curl away. Well, you may have liked that curl. So what I've been doing is I have been going in depth into my little bit of technical analysis today. And I may as well just show you exactly what I've done on a nice blank canvas. Okay, so what I've got is there's a kind of year view of Bitcoin's price. All right, and this is looking at it at the 1 day look. All right, so we've got our blank canvas here. All right. Now, so there's a particular indicator that I use to see how extreme or how severe is the fear in the market. Okay. So the indicator that I use is called the moving average. Okay. So the moving average essentially plots the ones that I use plots the closing price over an average period. Okay, so the ones that I use, if you've taken my technical analysis course on Udemy or my trading course, you'll see that I use 3. I plot 3 across a particular chart. All right, so I plot the 50-day, 100-day, and 200-day. And what this shows is the closing price, the average closing price for a particular cryptocurrency over the last 50, 100, and 200 days. That's what these lines are. Okay, so when the price of a cryptocurrency is significantly higher than the 50-day, that signals confidence in the market. Okay, and the higher above it is, the more confidence there is. So as you can see, it was just above here and then extremely above. So this is where there was massive confidence. Those people were buying. People were unfortunately buying all-time highs for Bitcoin here. And then there was a correction. But that correction didn't actually take it to the 50-day moving average. So it was a relatively healthy pullback in price. And a pullback is always expected. Now, the closer it gets to this line, the more significant it becomes. Once it crosses this line, it's still relatively healthy, a little bit of a cause for concern, but it's not that significant. Once it crosses the 100-day, this is the second line of support. Once it crosses the 100-day average, it signals that it's relatively significant. Okay, now is the time to be thinking, right, this is going down quite a lot lower than is reasonable to expect. And then what happened, particularly when Bitcoin crashed to under 6,000, just under 6,000, this is where it smashed through that 200-day average. Okay, so that signals extreme levels of pullback, extreme levels of fear and people being scared. All right. Now, since it recovered, it kind of recovered over the 50-day, because over 50 days, you know, the price has been going down. However, what has been looked at as the main source of support is the 200-day, which, having risen above, people were hoping it would stay above for some time. Now, unfortunately, given the week that Bitcoin has had, it has now dipped below that support line. When it dips below that support line, that is where it just kind of free falls. Now, at the moment, Bitcoin is just above $9,000. So it's just on that line. So it's almost managed to grab some support back. All right. So I think this is because America are waking up. However, what I have noticed this morning is that there's this toing and froing kind of between 9,000 and about 8,600. Okay. It's been healthier, but as America begins to wake up and as the weekend comes in, it's very, very likely we could be seeing a drop. We could be. Okay, now I'm not going to say this is gospel, but we could be. All right, so let's just bring this back a little bit. And let's have a look at another indicator. So let's have a look at the RSI. The RSI is shows mainly whether a coin is overbought or oversold. That's really what you're looking at. Okay, and when a cryptocurrency is overbought, that's normally the time to sell, particularly if you're a trader. Okay, or if you're wanting to swing trade, even if you're a long-term holder and you want to increase your position. So as you can see here, this 70 line, this dashed line, shows the overbought level. So as you can see, back when Bitcoin went to over 20,000 or near about 20,000, it was massively overbought. When Bitcoin went to below 6,000, it was massively oversold. When it's oversold, that is the signal, like one of the best signals to get into a cryptocurrency and buy, because it's hit a bottom, basically. Now, as we can see at the moment, Bitcoin is just above, well, quite a bit above actually, the dashed line on the bottom, where it's oversold. Yeah, oversold. So I always get mixed up a little bit. So anyway, so it's still quite a bit above. So have we reached that point where the whales are going to start coming in? Okay, you know, so a lot of them have put their money into Tether. If we have a look right now on CoinMarketCap, the second most, Bitcoin has obviously had $8.5 billion in trading, Ethereum 2.1, and Tether 3 billion. Okay, so there's quite a lot of money that's been moved to Tether and out of Tether as well. There have been people that have thought, oh, you know what, it's gone under, 8,500, so let's start buying. So I think that that's probably where some money has come out of Tether. But as we come towards the weekend, it's very, very likely that the whales may not re-enter the game until during the weekend. So I'm going to remove these support lines now, and I'm going to use a trend line. Okay, so this is going to plot the bottom of the price movement. Okay, so if we I'm going to do it on the wick. Okay, so here's the wick. So just in case you can't see it, hopefully you can see it now. So right here was where we start, was back in July, when the market was gearing up for Bitcoin Cash and altcoins really slumped. It was like one of the lowest prices you could have got altcoins at that time. I did a lot of buying at that point. And then there was another one, which was where the China FUD came in. Okay, so that was another line at which it hit the bottom. And then most recently, when it hit the kind of 6K mark, it hit another bottom. So what we're seeing potentially is another move, another move towards this bottom, dependent on if you use the wick or not. So what could happen, like I say, this is just conjecture really, this is just speculating. What could happen is we could see a fall to this support line. So that would be about 6,500. Okay, so I'm thinking that's potentially worst case scenario, but it could hit that bottom based on the wick. Could have that kind of volume. So I'm now going to do another line. Let me kind of do it in green, just so we have some differentiation. Okay, so we're putting it at the top, so at the highs of the price movement. Okay, so we got the bottom, now we've got the top. And this is where the lines could potentially converge. All right, so I'm just going to get the brusher here. And so what we could see is kind of it going up, down, kind of going in between, because this seems to be the trend either way, both on the bottom and the top. So we could see it going either way until it meets this path. Now it looks like a descending triangle in the main. Okay, now in a descending triangle, this is where it normally signals that a price is going to spike up. Once it kind of reaches the crescendo, hits that bottom point, it could go right up. Maybe not that much, okay? So that was probably an exaggeration. But anyway, either way, it could go up at this point as it hits the pinnacle of the descending triangle. So that is something that we could be seeing happening. Now, this would be plotting this to happen. This is in such a scenario. Now, technical analysis, it works, it doesn't work. Sometimes it all depends really. But it's a big tool used by traders, and particularly the people that inform the whales. Now, when the whales get in, they're typically doing it under a lot of intelligence. They're getting information from news outlets, from traders, from well-connected people that know exactly what's going to happen. Okay, so this is what potentially could happen. And of course, none of this could happen. If we move the floor so that it's not getting rid of, if we move the floor, so if we put the trend line back where it was, if we do it so it's not on the wick, it's on the candlestick, so around about here, then we could see a bottom of just under 8,000. So over the weekend, over the next few days, it could go to 6,000. It could. Like I say, it's not guaranteed. It's probably not even likely, but it could happen. Is all I'm saying. So I certainly know that a lot of people are expecting it to hit 8,000, and it may well do. Okay, because like I said, there are various factors which govern, the Bitcoin price and when whales get in and when whales get out and all of that kind of thing. So, there's news, there's politics, there's the stock market and all that. However, the stock market is looking it closed at quite a healthy, value yesterday. So, you never know. It could go down, it could go up. But we're coming towards the weekend, and as we're talking right now, the price has gone from 9,000 to 8,937. So, you can see that the price is dropping. Hopefully not as a result of this. But I'm just saying that there is a likelihood that this thing here, there is a likelihood that it could happen. It could drop. It could drop significantly. So it's just to let you know that. Now, what's another thing that's worth talking about? So what does this mean for the altcoins? Okay, so for the altcoins, what tends to happen when the market cap and Bitcoin go right down is that the altcoins go down at a kind of rapid rate. Okay, so let me attempt to draw what happens. Now, I'm not necessarily good with these paint functions of Coinergy, but I'm going to try as best possible. Okay, so let me just draw this table out. I think that's all right. Right, so up here we're going to have the market cap of the cryptocurrency market. Okay, so the value of the cryptocurrency market. Here we're going to have Bitcoin. And here we're going to have the altcoins. Okay, so this is going to show you the interrelation in movement. All right. So anyway, so let's start this. Okay, so when the market cap goes up, then what we typically see is that Bitcoin goes up. Okay, so when the market cap, when there's confidence in the market, Bitcoin goes up because this is the main cryptocurrency. Obviously, this is the one that's likely to have the most mass adoption. This is the most famous. This is likely to be the one that outlives them all. All right. So what happens is when Bitcoin goes up and everything's going up and it's really healthy, the alts go up at an extremely rapid rate. Okay, so this is where we see a very healthy market. This is what happened around about the January time, where everything was going up, and so alts were absolutely spiking the hell up. And even though Bitcoin hadn't massively reduced, the market cap was going up, and so altcoins were going up, and so we reached that market cap of 830 billion. All right, now let's have a look at the reverse effect. Okay, so when the market cap is going down like it has been, okay, it's just been going down. It's been 400 billion, and then it's now just tanked to the mid 300s. The market cap goes down, Bitcoin goes down. Okay, because there's fear there, and of course the whales react to the fear, so they bring down the Bitcoins. And then what everybody else does is they then sell their altcoins at a rapid rate. So we have the inverse of what happened during the confidence period. So we are seeing altcoins rapidly losing value. So just coming here, we can see that most cryptocurrencies have been losing value. Now, when I was looking earlier, this was much worse. We were seeing double figure kind of losses here. CoinMarketCap is clearly not in sync with the current live price. Current live price is 8,900. Okay, so this looks maybe slightly skewed, but as you can see, there's some double-digit losses here. And if Bitcoin does do what could happen, which is massively reduce in value, is that the altcoins again will follow suit and they will massively lose value. So over the weekend we could see Bitcoin at a great price for accumulation, particularly for the whales, and we could see alts at an incredibly good price. Okay, so this is all likely. I think what it comes down to is how can we get to this position from this position when there is quite clearly fear in the market. There's fear in the market. How can we get to the confidence where actually we start seeing everything rising? This will be a gradual thing. And I think sometimes the confidence comes from hitting a bottom. And I don't know if we've hit that bottom yet. And I think that's what we're going to find out during this weekend. The last part of this graph is the neutral position. So the neutral position is if the market cap is moving sideways. And this is what we have been seeing. If we just go and have a look at the market cap now. Would it show it properly? What we see in the market cap is that we just see a sideways movement. This is the overall market cap. It's going so slow, my laptop. It's because I'm using the technical analysis. So at the moment, the whole thing is moving sideways. It's not moving at all, this thing. Right, so let's just plot this. Let's go back. Right. There we are. Right. So what we have mainly seen is sideways movement. Now we're seeing downwards movement, okay? But what we have been seeing is sideways movement. It's not really been going up or down dramatically. So it's just been going kind of sideways. All right, so that takes us to this bit. So the market cap is moving sideways. What happens in this scenario is we have a position where, let me just draw this out again. Okay, so we've got this position. We've got this seesaw, okay? So on this seesaw, we've got BTC. So I'm just going to put BC there. And then we've got the alts. So what we could either see, and this is kind of what happened in December moving through February, okay? We saw the alts going up whilst Bitcoin was going down. So this was really good Satoshi value. So when it's moving sideways, it can go either way. Okay, it's like a battle for dominance. All right, so which is going to have the more dominance? And as we saw back then, the altcoins had a hell of a lot of dominance. Bitcoin had incredibly low dominance for the first time in a long time. Okay, but what has been happening recently is that actually Bitcoin has had the most dominance and altcoins have been losing dominance. Hence why, during this sideways period, we've been seeing most of the newer projects losing value, whilst Bitcoin kind of was going up towards 11,000, 12,000. But now that we're kind of in this stage. Okay, so it's really a case of what happens from here. Okay, that decides where Bitcoin's going to go and how it's going to progress. Now everything goes in cycles. Okay, so we see these periods where there's fear, and then what happens is it hits the bottom, and then the confidence comes back because everybody starts buying again. We saw that happen back when we had the China FUD, and then all of a sudden there was that gradual confidence coming back. So it moved from this to this to this. Okay, and so everything was going up at that point. So that's what we need to hope for when it comes to the spring. Now, all I'm gonna say is that there is a potential bottom that Bitcoin could hit. It may not hit, but it could hit. In which case, this will be a really good time for you to pick up some alts and Bitcoin. Okay, so we're just gonna have to wait and see. So what I want to hear from you guys is what you guys are thinking about what will happen to Bitcoin. There have been some really ambitious goals. People are saying it could hit 2,000. I don't think that that's even remotely possible, because I think looking at the bottom, which we just looked at, I think the absolute bottom would be about 6,600. I think that's the bottom where, if it definitely hits that price, then it's a definite go up. I don't think it's going to go that far down, but it could. I still think over the weekend, I think that Bitcoin is going to get really tested, particularly when America starts to go to sleep, and that is where probably some of the sell orders or stop losses will start to get activated and take it down, potentially over the weekend, dip below 8,000, and maybe a lot more than 8,000. So I'd love to see what you guys are thinking, and by the way, smash the likes. Is this the biggest dip ever? No, I wouldn't say it was the biggest dip ever. There have been, I think that the biggest dip was actually the one between 20,000 and 6,000. That's a humongous dip. Quite possibly the biggest dip in history. Thank you, AJ Prime. I appreciate that. That's Millie in the background jumping on boxes. I wish I had more fiat. That's a great point, actually. So another point that I wanted to make is what you're buying with. All right. So over the weekend, there's two prices to be kind of wary of. If you are putting in new fiat into the market, then USD is the price that you want to be looking at. All right. So USD is you seeing the fiat value of a particular cryptocurrency that you want to get in, and you being able to ride the fiat multipliers. So if you are cashing in with new fiat, then this is where you can see, the fiat will multiply. If you are going to be buying with Bitcoin that you've already got, so if Bitcoin is your buying currency, you're not going to be putting in any more fiat, then what you want to be looking at is the Bitcoin price, okay, the Satoshi price. Because this will indicate that relative to Satoshi, the values are really low. The lower they are in Satoshi value, the more it can gain when the Satoshi value goes right up. When Bitcoin goes right up, the more that you can gain from that. Okay, so the bigger the losses, the more you could potentially gain out of it. Okay, so so it all depends really. You want to be getting at low sat prices so that when the alts go up, you can really see the sat prices go up with it, and you can make really good either trades or investments. So those are the two things. So if you're going to cash in with fiat, then fiat matters. If you're going to be using Bitcoin, then Bitcoin matters. You don't want to be getting something that's necessarily in profit on Bitcoin, because then when Bitcoin goes up, you're going to be experiencing a loss. Suppo, can you do a show with your shirt off? Okay, fine. Okay, you asked for it, so what's going to happen now? Not quite. Power Ledger below ICO. I very much doubt that will happen. Power Ledger at ICO was like 7 cents. So I doubt it's going to go. I am interested to see credits though. Let's see about credits, because credits has had quite a what's the word? Turbulent kind of 2 days, but it's staying strong. It's staying strong. Considering this is new on the market, this has not dipped significantly. Okay, it's dipped from its all-time high, but then it did have a massive FOMO kind of rally. So a FOMO rally is where, you know, people fear of missing out. They want to get in as quickly as possible before it keeps going up and up and up. And so it had a FOMO rally, and it went up to $1.17, I think. And then it had people cashing out galore. But I would say that the the stable price was about 60 cents. So it's not gone down significantly below 60 cents. So it's doing quite well. Wendy says hi to Millie. Millie. Wendy says hi. Oh, there she is. Hello. How are you so confident in a rebound? I don't think it really matters how long you've been in cryptocurrency if you dedicate your life to cryptocurrency. Okay, so I have been basically full-time cryptocurrency for quite some time, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not one of those technical analysis evangelists. I'm not one of those people that lives their life by technical analysis. It does give you really good signals. But it's just, at the end of the day, they're just indicators. They're just, this is what could happen using the info. But if you look at a variety of ways in which people, use technical analysis, then, hold on. If you look at the variety of ways by which people use technical analysis, then you will see a variety of different lines, graphs, retracements plotted on top of a price movement, okay? Everybody has their own individual style, and kind of 80% of the time, they're wrong. Okay, so, you just have to kind of use it to signal what could happen. And now Bitcoin has gone down to 8886, so it is losing value. So we are seeing it really being tested here, So you could plot, whatever lines really you see fit. All really depends on, what's your... how seriously you take it, and if you think that it's, valid or whatever, that it's completely up to you to decide how you kind of see it. So, you can draw all sorts of lines on these things, okay? So, just to use as an example, the whole buyer support and resistance lines, okay? So let's have a look at the resistance line. So we've got the resistance line here. And then we have a support line, which is basically where the price won't go below around... It's not fucking working. And we got one here. Okay, so it changed colour. So what happens is that normally you need 3 points of reference. So we got candlestick, the wick, should I say, the candlestick, and then this is not this thing here. So what you've got here is you have this little, I suppose, zone where the buying and selling's happening. So you've got the buying going up to the resistance line, and then you've got some resistance selling down to the support line. Okay, and so what you look for when it goes into this zone is you're looking for the price to either go out of that zone, in which case that's called a breakout, and a breakout means that it's a bullish movement, or you get a breakdown, which is a bearish movement. And as you can see here, that was a bearish movement. So you can just basically plot these all over the place and just use it to make yourself feel better. At the end of the day, it's kind of up to you how you decide to use these things. And you can use them at your own discretion and think to yourself, right, okay, so this is kind of the area to watch for at the moment. So like I said, so what we had here, so what we have is the kind of 8,300 mark, and then we've got the kind of 9,700 mark, which is where we've just seen it go to, and now it's at 8855, 8878. So we're going to be seeing, we're going to possibly be seeing the price going down, could go up, could go down, could go up over the course of Friday today. But what could happen over the weekend is it could either, the whales are thinking, right, we've hit a bottom, looking at the intelligence that's out there, we've hit a bottom, let's now plunge our money out of Tether into Bitcoin. Bang, it'll go up if such a thing happens. Okay. On the other end of the scale, what we could see is right, okay, so people still haven't got the confidence yet, and so it goes down, and it goes through the buyer support line, and then it breaks down. And then in which case, that is when it could go to, it could go to 7,500, whatever. Okay, so this is really, these are the various things that you can do with technical analysis. But at the end of the day, it's up to you. But what they're providing you ultimately with is the data to be able to make said kind of buying decisions. Okay, so I sometimes use these, but I don't do trading very often. I'm a holder, and I tend to stay holding, okay, unless I know for sure that something is going to happen, in which case I do put things into Tether. But it's very, very rare. You don't speak a lot about EOS. I used to speak about EOS a lot. I'm highly invested in EOS. I got involved in EOS during ICO. I bought this at 40 cents. And I talked about this as one of my coins of 2018. So, but it's one of those projects that just not a lot happens with, okay? It's an infrastructure cryptocurrency, could be the next Ethereum. I think that one of the main battles we're going to see in cryptocurrency is between Ethereum, EOS, and Cardano moving forward. Ethereum has been kind of, and possibly Neo. Ethereum has kind of been the leader, okay, and EOS is meant to be the super version of Ethereum. So we could be seeing EOS doing really well, but they don't do a lot of marketing because they're big enough now. They're a top 10 cryptocurrency. Large, or have been, a large cap coin that has the visibility and has, and people who do their research will know it's good. But I don't talk about it a lot. No, you're right, because a lot of the things I talk about are kind of the newer cryptocurrencies, the ones that hope to get to this position. When I first invested in EOS, it was nowhere near this position. It was about where was it? It was about 400 million market cap, which was quite high. Well, no, at the time it had a much smaller circulating supply, so I think it was about 200 million total supply back then. So I was in EOS yonks ago. I was in EOS right at the very beginning when it had a small supply, and it got up to this stage. But it almost makes no sense to talk about altcoins that have already absolutely exploded. Really, the aim of cryptocurrency and what people come to cryptocurrency for ultimately is to get rich, okay? And you don't get rich going into the larger cap coins because their multipliers are not as significant. They are significant, but not as significant as they can be getting into a cryptocurrency really early. So one of the best kind of cryptocurrency ICOs of all time is ARK. This is almost like Icon, OneChain, uniting blockchains, basically, making blockchains talk to each other. Now, this ICO was 1 cent, okay? Now, as you can imagine, it has made an absolutely ginormous amount of gains since then, and I like to talk about the coins when they're in the 1 cent, 5 cent category as they move towards this price. So that's why I don't really talk about the larger cap coins. Thank you, Vil. I appreciate that. POSW, not heard that one in a long time. You talk about ethos all the time. Yeah, because ethos is a product which is going to revolutionize how we store cryptocurrency, how we hold cryptocurrency, and how we buy into cryptocurrency with fiat. So it's more than significant in just the gains. It's really significant in terms of the wider scheme for newbies. Yeah, the cat's meowing. She wants to be... Do you want to be in? You do. Come on then. Come on then. She's funny. Anyway, I think that's it now. I didn't want to stay on too long. I just wanted to give an indication of what was likely to happen. This was really just, how you can use... yes, okay, Millie. This is just how you can use technical analysis and really what could happen to Bitcoin. Because really the danger spots come when America go to sleep. Or when America wake up. Sometimes they wake up and... What time is it now? It's normally 2 o'clock when I kind of think that America are really going to start, it's going to be the testing time. So when America wake up, that could cause something to dip significantly. And when they go to sleep, that's when things can also dip significantly. Because normally when I wake up, which is slap bang in the middle of America being asleep, or just as they've gone to sleep, the market is at its best point to accumulate or buy. So that's where we're going to see over the weekend. Where is the floor? Is there a floor? Is that floor 6,500 or is it about 8,000 or is it somewhere in between? We don't know. But at the end of the day, you know, you can kind of have a little bit of, I suppose, a range by which you can think, right, at this point I am going to get involved in alts, or at this point I'm going to get involved in Bitcoin. Okay, so I hope that you've enjoyed this. Have a good weekend, and I'll see you next time. It is lights out, all out.